Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Achad Kodash. Give honor as well to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, rule and teach well. Shalom, Barakim to you brothers and sisters out there. Alright, this is the brother Malachi from the Great Millstone National Camp. And Lord, willing that this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. Alright, I got this word up here. The word doubt, which, doubt is something that happens to all of us, right? If we're being honest, and there's nothing wrong with that in the sense of, we're in the flesh, right? Like Yahushua said, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So, and then we know these bodies. They're subject to demons. Demons can pop in your mind and flood it with negative thoughts, flood it with too many thoughts. These things are going to happen. But we need not to remain in the spirit of doubt, of worry, of stress, and being anxious all the time, paranoid. No. Because like the Most High said, I'm actually going to get this. One of my favorite go-tos, because it shows how we really don't have, a defense other than the Lord. So, Isaiah 41, I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, "For I, Yahweh thy God, will hold thy right hand." Remember, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. Proverbs 18:10. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Let me start over. "For I, Yahweh thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee." For the Lord is going to guide us. Right? Like it says even in 2nd Ezra 16th chapter. It says, "Let not your sins weigh you down, neither your iniquities lift up themselves." But the Lord is going to deliver us. He's going to protect us and take care of us in the times of trouble. Because right before I started this lesson, found myself racing with thoughts. Personal things coming up the next couple months, next few months. Got to get that all together, and then prophecy too, right? Because it's only a matter of time before things start to kick up. Before this Strait of Hormuz situation actually starts being, which it's already affecting to a degree, but on that scale that they're talking about, there's a lot coming down the pipeline. We all have personal battles and personal things that we got going on coming down the pipeline, and then we all have prophecy. We all have, there's just a whole lot that's about getting ready to happen. It's very easy to allow these things to worry you. It's very easy to allow these things to cause you to just, to cause your mind to race and race and race, and it's unprofitable and vain. Okay? And Bob Shaw, excuse the robot, because it's probably about to start going off because everybody's slowing down now. So everybody's going to be all bundled up. Alright, verse 14, it says, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel." So that's why I got it, because we're likened unto a worm, which a worm is defenseless. Okay, it doesn't have a tough outer shell. They're not fast. They're not large creatures. They're very susceptible to death. Essentially, to their enemies round about them. The elements. And the Lord is letting us know, like, look, we really are like worms. We don't have no defense. Okay? We don't have no defense. You can add in there as well, right? Since it's like filthy rags. Which is a little different topic, but I'm saying you can put that in there as well. All we have is the Lord. And that's why King David said too, because I'm going to keep quoting that scripture, "Wait, I say, on the Lord." There's nothing else. We can't do these things with our own hands. We need divine intervention to be protected from the times that we're coming into. You know, and the Lord, once again, you know, like I went into, I think, a lesson or two ago, the Lord has declared the end from the beginning, man. Everything that's meant to happen will happen. And everything that's meant to not happen, you know, like, that ain't gonna happen. You know, like, it's not written. Well, then it's not gonna take place. Understand that the same man that's bringing these plagues, or about to bring these plagues, really already, but, you know, on a different scale, he's the only one that can deliver us. That's what 2 Ezra 16 also talks about. Who can, you know, drive away these plagues if the Lord has sent them? Alright, so let me get this word for doubt. It says, this is the etymology. It says, to dread, fear, be afraid. Question, hesitate, waver in opinion, uncertain. Right? So, we're supposed to fear the Lord. Alright, fear is the beginning of wisdom, fear is the beginning of knowledge. But this is a different kind of fear that it's talking about. This is talking about fear of the world, fear of Esau. You know, just you know, worry about problems. Yeah, but here's another thing, which I'm gonna go and grab this. There we go. Sirach 11 and 21, especially bring this out for financial words. All right, but really in general, it just shows that the power of the Lord is, you know, it's limitless, right? There's no end to it. All right, he has infinite power. There's nothing that he can't do. Sirach 11 and 21, it says, marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor. All right, continue to do the work. Now, that's the whole reason why we receive daily bread. That's the whole reason why the Lord wakes us up, is to do this work. All right, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, that's the whole duty of man. It says, for it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich. Okay, so just, you know, for an example, you could find yourself facing, which, you know, this is not something that happened to me. I'm not sure if it ever happened to any brother, but, you know, just putting an example out there, you know, to describe what it just said. It just said it's an easy thing for the Lord on a sudden, okay, to make a poor man rich. So just imagine somebody's facing eviction. You know, the car's about to get repoed, you know, because they lost their job, and, you know, it's just a whole bunch of financial things weighing down on him, right? All of a sudden, he comes across a scratch-off card that, you know, that fell into somebody's pocket and ain't got no name written on the back, and it fell out 2 days ago. It's been sitting there. Luckily, it hasn't rained. You know, which that was all, you know, from the Lord. And you realize that it won $10,000. You know, something like that could happen. And that's still small scale compared to what the Lord can do, obviously. But I'm saying we're getting ready to see miracles like we've never seen before. Okay? And, you know, like we used to always say, if you don't believe that the Lord is going to, you know, like come through for you to pay rent or pay your car note or you know, whatever, how do you think that the Lord is going to deliver you from 200 million nuclear warheads? From famine, from pestilence, from the hands of Esau, Edom. How is, you can't, look, if you can't believe the Lord's going to help you pay that water bill, you know, and get that paid, then how much more of them things of much greater magnitude? You see, and that just meditating on something like that really puts everything in a retrospect. It makes you think, you know what, yeah, I need to just cast my burdens upon the Lord. Because at the end of the day, worrying about shit, it's not going to benefit, right? It's not going to actually fix the problem. It's not going to assist in anything. It's actually just going to make it worse. I believe Marcus Aurelius has quotes that deal with something like that. You know, basically, well, I know for sure he has one where he's talking about, you can't control things, like outside things, but you can control how you react to them. That's all you can control is your emotions. So I can't control, my car from breaking down or losing a job, unless of course you like bullshit. But I'm saying, things happen. Okay, maybe your car broke down and then you lost your job. Well, I can't, I lost my train of thought. Salaki. Traffic slowing down. Oh yeah, okay. Salaki. So I can't control those things, but I can control how I react to them. I could lash out and rage, and I could start hitting the wall and rip the door off the frame, but that what is all that going to solve? And then that's just more damages, Which, now don't get it twisted, mistakes happen, right? I'm saying, like, in the sense of, sometimes we allow our emotions, not just anger, but emotions to, do too much, but we gotta make sure that we maintain composure, okay? We gotta make sure that we maintain integrity. All right, because like it also says, let me get this. I'm a little bit, I'm not going to say all over the place. It's still kind of regarding the same, but Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28, it says, he hath no rule over his own spirit, or Salaki, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Or so broken down and without walls, so there's no protection. That's exactly how we are if we allow our emotions to take control, which allows us to be irrational, right? Which is that allows us to be compulsive, okay? And these are things that we don't want, because that the Lord ain't dealing with that type of mindset, that type of spirit, that lash out spirit. Okay, that's really the spirit of Esau, being compulsive, or impulsive. Salaki. Well, let me look up compulsive. He might be both. They both sound terrible. Compulsive. I mean, he can be compulsive and impulsive, but I didn't really full-blown read it because I'm not the best multitasker. But anyways, let me go ahead and get this. I'll probably close out. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, it says, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. That's another thing. You got to believe that there's a reward for this, because there is, right? It's so easy to get caught up in all the BS that's going on out here that you need to remind yourself that, look, this is all temporary. None of this is actually going to last, bro. Not, Lord willing, not even 5 years, not even 3 years. Yahweh forbid. Okay? Their agenda is 2030, and we're about to start seeing things crank up. How long is this strait going to be closed before it starts to actually real deal affect, all the commerce here? It's only a matter of time, bro. We're not going to continue to be going to work and paying rent and doing all this shit for much longer. Things are getting ready to change. And we gotta change with it. We ain't got no choice. The Lord is going to throw you into situations where you have no other option but to change. Which is a beautiful and also scary thing. Okay, because you don't know what that situation is going to be. How much it's going to fucking suck ass. But we're not here to have fun, right? Now we have fun with the ministry, but look, man, everything's going to work out. And that's all that matters at the end of the day, man. So just, doubt less. Okay, be more faithful. How Ratazai can apply that, first and foremost. But let's just let the Lord handle things, man. So, Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying. Before I close, I want to say, call hello. Yahweh Ba'Shem Al Shai Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. The honors the Apostle, Elder Great Millstone.